Hey everyone, welcome back to Mining for Mayhem. We've got another awesome show for you. So over the past weekend, I went to the local QWA and CQWA Super Show in Mackay. And this week, I've got a lot of interviews lined up. We're going to start the week off with a big one. We have the amazing and awesome main event, Seth Tylors. Seth, how on, mate?
Hang on. If you're going to introduce me, it's the Filipino sensation, Mr. Hashnaj, Seth Tylors. How you going, mate?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Yeah, not too bad.
How's life been treating you?
Yeah, it's good to have a little bit of time off after the full weekend back-to-back QWA tour, so it's really good.
I noticed that I didn't even know it was 4 days till we were there, and then you were talking about how it had been 4 days or 4 weeks back-to-back. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, it was 4 back-to-back weekends, first off in Rockhampton, then our hometown, Townsville, and then go down to Venom Pro Wrestling, Brisbane, and then finished it off making history in Mackay.
Hell yeah. And it's the first time there's been any pro wrestling in Mackay in 50 years. That's insane. Yeah. And it was meant to happen last year, but obviously COVID.
With the current climate, unfortunately we weren't able to do it last year, but everybody at QWA were able to band together and get it done this year.
Yeah, and speaking of COVID, we've just gone into wear a mask everywhere we go because our state capital's just gone into lockdown for 3 days, so the whole state's got to wear a mask.
Yep, that we do. That's always fun, but it is what it is. No point. Yeah, that's it.
Wear your mask, stay safe. So we'll kick this off with the most basic of questions. Where did you get into wrestling? Where was the start for you?
For me as a performer or just in general?
Just in general, like as a kid, what got you hooked on pro wrestling?
So I was fortunate enough to have my pop be a ginormous pro wrestling fan. So pretty much the moment I was born, I was into wrestling. There was no way around it. So just pretty much growing up with him, watching wrestling on the floor, on his lap, all that sort of stuff. So he's definitely the reason why I got into wrestling and the reason why I became a performer.
Oh, nice. So when did you start watching it?
So like I said, watched it from pretty much the moment I was born. I was going up until, can't remember when. I kind of fell off it because I'm a military brat, so I moved around quite a lot. So we never really had All-Star, Foxtel, and all that sort of stuff, so didn't have access to it. But I didn't really get back into it. Maybe 06, I think. Yeah, it would have been 06 because I remember the Survivor Series match between Team DX and Rated RKO. So
that was a good era.
I think that was the first match I got back into it. So,
were you a Raw guy or a Nitro guy?
Nitro guy. Yeah.
Hell yeah! And was there someone you idolized?
It varies between the kind of what catches my eye. So there was never really wow, this guy is the one that I'm latching onto. So it kind of varied between when I'm kind of watching it. For example, when I went back into it after 06, it was very edge heavy after watching the Survivor Series match. I don't know what it was, but something clicked with me for edge. And then obviously your Michaels, your John Morrison and stuff like that. So it varied depending on who I liked at the time.
Yeah. So, but still a very technical style of wrestling.
Yes, I like the high flying and leading more towards the technical side of things. Definitely.
Yeah. I noticed that in your style watching the main event.
Oh, thank you. I try to get it across there.
Is there, if you want to get someone into wrestling, have you got a particular match you show them? Or if not a match, a promo?
If I was to get somebody into wrestling, the way I personally do it, and the way I have done it, is show them a Royal Rumble. That
Right.
way you get 30 guys to look at, and then whoever they draw towards, say, for example, again, John Morrison rocks up, they really draw towards him. I can go from there, okay, here's a bunch of John Morrison matches. Go watch this.
It's a very interesting technique, and I've never heard of it, but I actually quite like that. Like, for me, one of my mates has never been into wrestling, never had anything against it, it's just never been his thing.
You get that?
And I brought him out to Mackay on the weekend, just to get him away out of town and have some fun.
Yeah.
He went to the event thinking, oh yeah, it's going to be, I'll be on my phone, I'm going to be bored, it's not my sort of thing. He was hooked when the first 3 guys ran out.
Amazing. That's what we here at QWA generally find, that whenever we try to get people along, or fans get new people interested and stuff like that, it's always the classic, oh, but it's wrestling, wrestling's this, it's that. It's a bunch of guys in their underwear fighting for a belt, rah, rah, rah. But the moment they get there, they're hooked. And then they're the next show, and then the next show, they bring their friends, and snowballs from there.
And the whole classic, wrestling's fake. And that's the mindset he had, and he's watching it, and you watch his face, and it's cringing, and he's like, okay, maybe it's not as fake as I thought it was. I'm like, obviously. Like, for me, I've always wanted to get into the ring, and I'm like, I want to get into the ring and do what Chris Van Vliet did, how he had Sean Spears and Tyler Reese chopping across the chest. I thought, maybe if I got into the ring and had a couple of wrestlers chop me, and then I thought, we got there, and the closer it got, I've had an injured shoulder for the past 4 weeks. I'm like, maybe next year.
I'm not a fan of chops. I advocate not liking them. Guys here know that I don't like that, so they give me chops or they don't give me chops. It's kind of, as long as I chop them, they'll chop me back, sort of thing.
Yeah. Who's the best chopper?
Here or?
Yeah, who's the best chop you've got one from?
Australian Wolf. No hesitation, Australian Wolf.
I think of all the chops I heard on the weekend, that was definitely the loudest crack.
I had a feud with him when he first moved to Townsville. I had what we ended up calling Wilsons, and that's what the fans ended up chanting, Wilsons. I had a chop mark from bright red hand mark, and eventually the couple of days after, I found out that I was coughing up blood from it, so that was always fun.
Oh,
I'll have to.
You could hear the crack throughout the PCY sound. I'm like, oh, that's just, it's the one crack that had me going. So, how did you get into QWA? Is that where you started, or did you start off in a different promotion?
So, I've always been up in Townsville. We've gone through 2 different promotions and a couple of reincarnations of QWA, but the promotion that I started off in was Queensland Championship Wrestling and Q. That's where I started. I trained under Simon Tokoroa. I trained under him. That was in 2013, I believe it was. Yeah.
Oh, nice. So you've definitely got some experience under your belt then.
A little bit, yeah. I've still got a long way to go, but yeah.
Have you got a favourite opponent that you've had?
I've had a couple. I lean more towards, at the moment, Trent O'Day.
I can see why.
Definitely me and Trent O'Day. We had a ladder match, and I've heard that you've interviewed him before.
Yeah.
We've had a ladder match. Unfortunately, it was cut short. So that one's always been in the back of my head.
I heard something else was cut short that night.
Yeah, definitely. His fingers are almost all identically at the same height. So
yeah.
He's definitely one of my favorite opponents, along with Sam Cannon. He's another one that I think I have chemistry with. So
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, with Trent from watching on the weekend, the chemistry is definitely there. Have you got a dream opponent anywhere in the world you'd like to get in the ring with?
100%. A guy named Lee Moriarty. He's there's something about the smoothness and technical side of things that he does that has really drawn my attention for a couple years now. I've been watching him closely, and I really, really like to wrestle him.
Hell yeah.
A little bit closer to home, Gavin McGavin over in Perth, EPW. Recently, I did a web series at the beginning of the year, and he's really had a lot of input in what will work and what doesn't work in the new Sexy Tylors heel gimmick that I'm running with. So yeah, I think pushing myself as far as I can go with him would be a dream match.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
Yeah.
If it definitely comes anywhere near my town, I'm definitely there. Which is technically we're meant to support the good guys, but in your case, when you were saying how Mackay sucks, I'm just like, yeah, I'm not from Mackay. I can cheer for this.
So you're a bandwagoner.
I'm just like, I'm not a local. I can agree that Mackay sucks because originally I came from Rockhampton, but I'm actually out west now in I'm about 2 hours west in Moranbah, so I'm out in the mining town out here. Lots of coal dust.
Yep.
I actually don't mind Townsville though. I've been up there a couple of times.
You have to make more trips up for QWA.
Oh hell yeah! I've just got to get the time off work.
That's it.
And then hopefully COVID settles down a bit. That's the other reason I try and avoid traveling at the moment.
Of course.
So, what do you like to do in your free time?
I'm just starting getting into anime, so I've been watching a bunch of that. I'm still very, very new to it, so getting through a couple of series. At the moment, I'm watching Tokyo Ghoul. So that's I'm like 5 episodes into that. I've watched
a lot of good things about that.
Yeah, it's piqued my interest. 5 episodes in, 7 Deadly Sins I've recently finished, and then My Hero has just started back up, so watching that as well. So it's very anime orientated.
Is there anything are you more into the new anime, or have you dived into the old school stuff?
I haven't really dived into old school stuff that I know of. I mean, you've got Dragon Ball Z, but everyone knows Dragon Ball Z. So
the most common ones are Dragon Ball Z, Digimon, Sailor Moon.
I do love me a good Sailor Moon episode.
I mean, you got to be fighting that evil by moonlight. I mean, probably why you're taking with the wolf at the moment.
That's right, exactly right. But yeah, other than that, it's just general sort of stuff, video games, gym, and yeah, pretty much repeat.
Fair enough. What games are you playing at the moment?
At the moment, I'm playing Little Nightmares 2. That's really good. And then before that, what was I playing? I think it was Red Dead Redemption 2 that I've been replaying constantly. And yeah.
All right. The most important question: Xbox, PC, or PlayStation?
PlayStation. PlayStation. Don't you disagree with me? It's fine.
There's a reason we have this hashtag going at the moment.
Mate, it's
Xbox all the way.
At the end of the day, each platform has its perks. Each platform has its exclusives. So it's very much like wrestling.
Yeah.
Instead of fighting against each other, like the content, the product, everybody gets along. At the end of the day, wrestling's wrestling. So
yeah, it's like if you're into racing, you've got Gran Turismo on PlayStation. If you're into shoot 'em ups, you've got Halo, which is what I grew up with, which is probably a big part of why I'm an Xbox person, because I grew up with Halo. And I've loved it ever since. And I'm not even a shoot 'em up sort of person. I grew up on the wrestling games.
I think we all did.
Yeah, when my parents used to go away for the weekend or do whatever it was they were doing for work, they'd leave me to look after the house. I'd go out to the video store, get SmackDown versus Raw 2009, 7 o'clock in the morning, plug it in. What felt like 5 minutes later, stop playing, go to the toilet. Turns out, we'll grab something.
You're 8 hours in.
It wasn't 5 minutes, it was 24 hours.
Jesus.
I went for 24 hours on season mode. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, I gotta stop now and go outside.
Of course.
The beauty
does it to you.
You a foodie person?
Foodie person? Yeah, I like my food. I don't discriminate against food. I see food and I eat it, and I'm very happy when I eat food.
Seafood diet. I love it.
Right.
Have you got a favorite dish?
I grew up in a Filipino household. I'm half Filipino. So the dish that I really enjoy is chicken adobo or beef adobo. Growing up, that's pretty much all I ate. So yeah.
Nice. Like, I'm not familiar with the Filipino names of the dishes, but because the Filipino culture here is very big, and I've worked with a lot of them, they bring all their food and I'm just drooling all over, especially some of the desserts. They're so
Don't get me started on desserts, man.
Like, it's got that sort of orangey caramel topping on it, and it's soft and gooey, and I'm just like, oh my God, bring me more.
Yeah.
Or even the spring rolls. Oh my God.
Yeah, all food's great, man.
Yeah. What about pizza?
I enjoy pizza, and I feel like I know where you're going with this.
I've been trying to ask this question for days around work, and I keep forgetting what the question is, but I know it's the most controversial thing. But then I had pizza last night and I just covered it in pepperoni.
Yeah.
That's all I need with pepperoni.
I'm loaded supreme thick crust, but it has to be without pineapples.
Yes, that is the one I've been looking at. I'm just like, damn it, what is that food that everyone goes controversial over?
Yeah.
And I keep coming back to anchovies.
I mean, it can go on pizza. It doesn't. It's not great on pizza, but
yeah, I'm not a fan of pineapple. One of my friends likes avocado on pizza.
Like I said,
everyone's got their own taste. I don't see the hype about it.
No, I don't. I love avocado. I'm basic white boy when it comes to that sort of stuff. But yeah, no, pineapple on pizza, not a thing. Should never be a thing. And yeah,
no, we might disagree on gaming consoles, but pineapple on pizza we can agree on.
Yeah.
What else do you like to do in your free time?
Like I said, it's pretty much that and repeat. I have a full-time job, so the moment I get home, it's kind of either I'm home for half an hour, then go straight to training, or I'm home, watch a little bit of things. At the moment, I'm watching My Wife and Kids on Disney Plus. Great show.
I've got to go look that up now. That was great growing up.
Yes, absolutely. There's parts where it hasn't aged well, but it's still a great show. But yeah, so it's kind of training, wrestling training, gym, a little bit of my own time, spending time with the girlfriend, and pretty much that, and repeat. Go to work at 5 a.m. in the morning.
So how much time do you spend at the gym a day or a gym a week?
So at the moment, I have been slack, but it's usually Tuesdays, Thursday, Fridays, maybe a Saturday, and it's usually 2 to 3 hours there.
Wow.
And then Monday, Wednesday, Thursday is wrestling training, and we're usually there for pretty much 2.5 hours. Sundays are a bigger day. That's when everybody's not working, so everyone is able to come in. That's usually a solid 6, maybe 7 hours on that.
Oh wow, that is a long time. But I mean, if it pays off and you get the main event, it's all worth it.
That's all right.
I mean, really, the other wrestlers, they only get the main event if they're in the ring with Seth Tylors.
Hey, you're clued on.
I do my study. So if someone wants to get into, like, in the ring wrestling, where would you recommend they go start, and what would you recommend for them to do?
Obviously never do it outside of a professional school. Australia's amazing with the amount of talent teaching. So if they're in Australia, there's places like EPW, MCW, PCWs there as well. But yeah, so it's contact a promotion that's nearby you, and just go through that sort of stuff. Rock up, open-minded. The first couple months are going to be very repetitive, but stick to it. And yeah, it's the best fun that I've ever had. So,
Oh, I can imagine. We don't have a wrestling ring. We got a boxing one though at our gym, so I decided to just jump in that and start running the ropes. And I was going all good, and then I got up on the top rope. Like, I'm not a big guy. I'm 6 foot and I'm about 70 kilos. Got up on the top rope, and I'm just like, nope, I'm hopping down. I ain't jumping off this. And it's not even that high, but it's when you're up there, it's a whole different.
It's different. It's different, man. Going off the top. I remember the first time I went off the top rope. So when I first started training, we did the Ric Flair Bump, which you go on top of the turnbuckle. Someone grabs you, and then you just do a flip bump into the middle of the ring. Flair done pretty much every time he went to the top rope. I don't think he's hit top rope moves. Someone always cuts him off, grabs him by there, throws him off into the middle of the ring. They take that flip bump. I remember getting to the top of the turnbuckle when I first started training, and not a chance. Not a chance I was coming off. Someone was there ready to throw me off so I can do the flip bump. Not a chance. I chickened out multiple times. And it wasn't until my third match, I think it was, where I went up to the top and we were like, all right, let's go, just go, just go. Threw me off, and then got comfortable after that and just kept going.
Nice. Have you got a favorite aerial move that you like to perform?
Obviously, the one that I put people away with. It's the I call it the sexy spiral. It's what AJ Styles used to do, the spiral tap. It's when I go to the top, do a corkscrew senton, jump, do a flip, do a corkscrew, land on them.
Oh, yeah, okay, I get it now. I'm trying to visualize it in my mind using, because I know the spiral tap in the video game. That's where I remember it from. I just don't remember AJ Styles doing it. So I'm assuming that's the TNA move?
Yeah, he was doing it a lot in his younger TNA days, so yeah.
Yeah, it's his TNA days that I'm very unfamiliar with.
Gotta watch him, man.
I think I didn't discover AJ Styles until he was feuding with Magnus when Dixie Carter was involved.
Yeah.
Around that era, that's when I started with TNA. Because it wasn't as broadcast out here as WWE was.
No, it definitely wasn't. I think Impact has had a few sort of places that they broadcasted on. Main Event was one of them at like 10 o'clock at night. So yeah, it was difficult to get to and watch, but definitely recommend watching Impact sort of stuff. I think like a match there that I recommend is a triple threat match. I think it's from Unbreakable. Can't remember the year. We need to fact check it. But AJ Styles versus Christopher Daniels versus Samoa Joe.
I know what match you're talking about. Because
in my opinion, one of the best triple threat matches.
They show it on Twitch after Impact airs live on Wednesday mornings. and then they'll go through all these random matches from the past 20 years on TNA or Impact. But I know what match you're talking about. Do you get to watch much current wrestling at the moment?
To be honest, the most I kind of keep up with is what's kind of on my social media. So, for example, Instagram, where I'm flicking through, something comes up, and I'll only really watch things that pique my interest, like storylines at the moment. The Bray Wyatt, Randy Orton feud is piquing my interest a lot. So that sort of stuff that I kind of flick through. I don't really watch much of the main sort of stuff like your AEW, WWE, New Japan. It's kind of like news feeds and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't really watch in full a lot of stuff. I don't think you will find a lot of people are watching full things. It's kind of whatever grabs their attention.
Yeah, I'm very much in the same boat. Like, if I'm on a day off, I'll watch it, and I think because of work, I haven't had much of it.
If you look at wrestling at the moment, there is so much product to try to keep up with.
I know.
I'm pretty sure now that NXT's Thursdays over in America.
Tuesdays after Mania, so it'll be Wednesdays for us.
Yeah,
which
so every single day, there's professional wrestling.
Yep.
Monday to Sunday, there's wrestling to try to keep up with. There's wrestling overlapping to try to keep up with. So yeah, there's a lot to try to keep up with. Yeah,
well, I know what you mean. Like with the news feeds, it's like I won't watch AEW. Like I generally try to keep up with NXT. Try to fail miserably, and then one day I had the day off, and I was gonna watch NXT. And I'm just like, I'm not in the mood for this. I jump on Twitter, and with the Twitter the way it is, it's all AEW. You don't see anything NXT on it.
Mm-hmm.
And they were all Thunder Rosa, Britt Baker. And I thought, okay, let's tune in, see what's happening. And oh my god, what?
That was a great match. I watched that one. That was a great match.
I don't watch AEW, but man, that had me hooked. And ever since then, I'm just like, I've got to see what's happening on AEW now. But no, that if anything, that's what got me hooked.
Yeah.
Before COVID hit, did you get many chances to travel?
To be honest, I haven't done a lot of traveling. I think, not including going to Venom Pro Wrestling, I think I've done it 3 times. Both the first 2 times was in the sister company that I worked for before QWA, which was Queensland Championship Wrestling Sunshine Coast. So I wrestled there twice. And then the 3rd time I went over to New Zealand with my girlfriend. And I was just able to get a spot on the card for that. So I was lucky enough for there. But yeah, so hopefully after catching the touring bug with this recent tour, with COVID easing off, hopefully eases off and we get a little bit more opportunities. Definitely want to do it. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely want to travel a lot more. You mentioned before dream matches as a tag team with Australian Wolf. I want to wrestle the Velocities. PWA, the Velocities, I've been wanting that match for quite some time. So hopefully with opportunities coming up, me and Australian Wolf can hopefully make that happen.
Well, hopefully with this interview out there, we can get the feels out there and get Twitter talking, and let's see if we can make this match happen.
I hope so.
What about just like a natural relaxing holiday? If you could go, have you been overseas much?
First time I left Australia was to go to New Zealand. So no, I haven't really done a lot of traveling. Like I said, I grew up military brat, so moving around, I've pretty much lived in everywhere in Australia, so didn't really want to travel a lot after moving out from home, so yeah.
Well, that's understandable. How'd you enjoy New Zealand?
Too damn cold. I'm not a cold person. Not a cold person.
Did you go to the north or south?
South, Christchurch.
Oh wow, yeah. No, I did the South Island as a teenager, man. We went right down to Dunedin, and yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
The glacier, the right down the bottom as well. Oh man.
My girlfriend's from New Zealand, so she's accustomed to that. So she's in normal clothing, and then I'm over there with like 9 layers on, freezing my ass off. So,
Yeah. Have you got anywhere you'd like to visit overseas?
I'd like to go to Canada. Definitely would like to travel to Canada, see what it's like over there.
So not a fan of the cold, but want to go to Canada.
It's my mentality is weird.
Oh, I'm the same boat. I think the weird mentality is how we can always play the villain so well.
That's it. No one's ever the villain in their own story, mate.
Exactly. I've been called a villain before. I'm like, yeah, whatever you reckon. I'm the hero in my story. Give me a cape. So what about Canada draws you?
To be honest, wrestling. Everything, yeah. So I like to wrestle in Canada. My hotspots for me, obviously America, Canada, Japan, and Mexico.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so they're my hotspots that I want to wrestle. So, yeah,
some interesting places. I haven't been to Mexico. I've done Japan and Japan and the west coast of America. So I've been like Los Angeles and Vegas, but that I was 10 years old when I did America. Well, the first time. Second time was Hawaii, and I think it was about 17. But
yeah, right.
Interesting fact, what most Australians don't realise, that sand on Honolulu Beach in Hawaii is actually imported. It's not natural.
Really?
Yeah. Because we were over there, and the guy that we got surfing lessons off was telling us about the beach and how they import the sand from the Gold Coast.
Wow.
Yeah. The things you learn.
A lot of effort.
Just to make that just seems crazy.
It does.
So what does the future hold for Seth Tylors?
Future for Seth Tylors is trying to get my name out in Australian wrestling. Like I said before, there's a lot of talent in Australia that I would like to wrestle. And then pretty much once I get my name through Australian wrestling and hopefully get through the big companies and stuff like that, I'd like to go back over to New Zealand, redeem myself a little bit from that match. I'm still pretty green on that, so like to do that and then obviously start traveling a lot more.
Yeah, no, that sounds amazing. I'm actually envious of all the traveling. I'd love to do it. I'd love to just get in the ring, even if it's for like a celebrity match. I'll be the celebrity podcaster in a match. Whether I go on the good team or the bad team, I don't know.
Yeah.
Who knows, I might just come up to Townsville and go, Townsville sucks.
It'll be interesting to see how you go there, but...
I know how to, as the terminology calls, draw heat. Although I also know one thing I've seen, a lot of wrestlers don't like it when the fans start using wrestling terminology. They get very protective over it.
Yeah, yes and no. Especially now, and where wrestling terminology is kind of at your fingertips with the internet, it's a lot more. It's a lot easier to obtain. Yeah. So,
especially when you can Google it as well. Like, there's a whole, I think, wiki page just dedicated to terminology.
Exactly, and that's what I mean. It's, for me anyway, I don't really have an issue with it. It's people. I mean, it's how I figured out a lot of the terminology before I started wrestling. So, yeah.
So do you plan on wrestling being a life thing, or do you plan on, have you got a set age you want to retire and settle down?
This is 100% my career. So this is how I want to make a living. This is how I want to spend the rest of my working days.
So who knows? We could see Seth Tylors at 65 retiring in the main event of WrestleMania.
But that's exactly right. Thrown out back and all.
And if that were to happen at, say, WrestleMania or even Wrestle Kingdom, and you were to retire in the main event at 65, 70, whatever it is, who would you want to retire you? Who would you like to have that honor? Because for whoever it is, it'd be an honor.
Jesus, mate, what a question. Hey, I'm just about to turn 26. Retirement is nowhere near my sight.
Oh God, I feel old now. I'm just about to turn 30.
Yeah, man, I'm turning 26 in August. Retirement is far from where I want to start thinking.
Useful. Enjoy your wrestling while you're in your prime. You've got 20 years of prime left.
That's it.
If not longer.
Once I get around retirement, that's when I'll start figuring it out.
Yeah, and see what younger talents around then as well.
That's it.
Who knows? We could see a WrestleMania match where yourself and Wolf become the unified tag team champions.
It will happen.
Who knows? Yeah. You two could be the first team to hold the WWE and AEW belts at the same time. You could be the reason they merge.
Jesus, mate. You've got some big goals for me to fill.
I just got a wild imagination.
Jesus.
But no, I am really grateful you were able to make the time out today. It's been an absolute blast just being able to sit down and just have a conversation with you.
Of course, man. Like, you take the time out of your day on Saturday to come and see us, your local, more than happy to help out local guys because, like, we all help each other. So
yeah, and that's just exactly it because it's like up until about 2 years ago, I'd never really known much about Australian wrestling.
Yeah. And
just seeing a lot of, whether it be obviously you guys, Adam Brooks from MCW, which is up there is actually his kick pads.
Hey, wow.
I'm just like, the talent around Australia, even over in EPW, is just phenomenal. And I think the one disappointing thing about it is the world doesn't know.
Yeah, so man.
My goal is to get local wrestling known to the world.
That's all of our goal, man. Just trying to. There is so, like I keep saying, there is so much talent in Australian wrestling that people just don't know about. Like, we had that kick where a lot of Australian wrestlers were going overseas and performing over there, and then obviously COVID hit, and I feel like when that hit, a lot of people started to sleep on Australian wrestling again.
Yeah. It's like we've still got obviously a couple of names. We've got Rhea Ripley going for the women's championship, and that's going to bring a lot of eyes to obviously where she came from down in Adelaide.
Yeah. But, exactly. Yeah. So, like I keep saying, there's so much talent for us to showcase.
Yeah. But before we wrap it up, do you want to plug your social medias?
Yeah, man. So Facebook is just Seth Tylors, professional wrestler. Both Twitter and Instagram is at Seth_Tylors. I don't think I have any other socials. Queensland Wrestling Alliance on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Instagram, I think it's QWA Wrestling. Well, that's Twitter, one of the two. But yeah, and then all of our wrestlers are on. All of them are on Facebook. Some of them are on Instagram, and some are on Twitter. I'm still pretty new to Twitter as well, so trying to figure that out. I still don't know what I'm doing.
You'll get there eventually. It took me a good 3-4 months to get going, just to try and understand it. Once you get the basics down pat, the rest of it will slowly come to you, and then you'll slowly learn how it works. You'll find your community.
Yeah.
Where can they buy your merch from?
At the moment, it's Redbubble, POA Tylors, if I remember that correctly, as well as QWA Shop. All the wrestlers' merch is on that as well.
Yep. Awesome. Well, thanks again for coming on. It has been
No, thank you for having me.
blast.
Thanks for having me, mate.
It's been an honor, and you're more than welcome back on the show anytime, and we can do this again.
Whenever you want me, man. Have a good time chatting.
Thanks, Seth, and we'll see you next time. Guys, thanks for tuning in to Mining for Mayhem. We'll see you all next time. Bye, everyone.